Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Control. So in the first episode we had, we found this magic gun, we shot, that the previous director shot himself in the head with, then theoretically maybe we did some Russian roulette on ourselves and we won. We've got these floating bodies that are around that we can shoot with this gun, and we've got some more military personnel around. We're in the oldest house. It seems like if we bump anything, half the time we will knock over a lot of stuff. So here you can clearly see you can get really close to these floating bodies. So the only reason I'm shooting them is because I assume there's a reason to do that. There's central executive that way, which might be where we're supposed to be going. We pick up health from a really far distance. Okay, you don't get health from the vending machines. Yeah, we won the Russian roulette thing, and why did that turn into many pages of paper? Like, see, that makes sense that a bunch of pieces of paper would shoot up in the air. A single poster, not so much. So what I think is a multi-dimensional group called the Board made us the new director, and magically changed the building so all the pictures have me now in the photo frames as the director in some kind of outfit that I am not wearing right now, with even a Federal Bureau of Control pin on, which one assumes I've never worn. It seems like unless this multi-dimensional pyramid called the Board knew that I was going to be immune from being mentally attacked, for lack of a better term, as soon as I walked out of the director's office, it seems like they pretty much would have lost the game right then and there. All these bathrooms seem to be exactly designed the same way. Nothing with the defibrillator. That is weird. A lot of copy and pasting going on here.
Reminder: if you experience an unanticipated building shift, follow these simple steps. 1. Search the room for any altered items or objects of power. 2. Carry the altered item or object of power to the nearest safe room. 3. Wait for Bureau staff to find you and the object. If there are no altered items or objects of power in the vicinity, then reach your supervisor via the nearest intercom and await further instructions. Thank you for your attention.
Now, intercoms, are they through these telephone systems or are they through the phones on the wall? Looked like there was somebody running back behind there. Maybe there was. There is, I think, something to be said about the copying and pasting that's going on here. And one of my major fears about having RTX technology and ray tracing technology in particular as the next big thing is often you will see the next big thing happen in the video game world and then people will just not be interested in it. So this is a shelter. So AWE is altered world events. What is this? We got some kind of material. So we are gonna get collectibles. But we can't open the emergency supply. So the shelter is designed for long-term bunkering, I suppose. I don't know if this is going to act as some kind of save spot. It did seem like the game saved by doing that. She's just hitting it, which is a standard thing that has never been addressed or fixed in video games. It's just a 3D model designed to hit a general spot instead of actually pressing buttons like a normal person. And frankly, if they are going to animate that you're just hitting a panel, then the panel should just be one big button. Yeah, I'm gonna leave these guys alone. Yep.
The hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss. Burrowing into everything in this place. Is the hiss your enemy? Alright, it's our enemy.
So she has some kind of...
That babble's contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to bother to read any of that stuff. This game is moving slow, and we're seeing a lot of repeated stuff. This looks like the pyramid, the board. A lot of just things that you would call like asset flips if this were a cheaper game. So that's probably an example of copyrighted music that's playing right there. So if I was to hit options here and then come over to audio and then click mute copyright music. Yep. It's just flickering on. Why a game developer would put in music that then they immediately think would get content ID'd on YouTube or some other service is beyond me. Does this get any quieter if we start shooting people? Seems like it kind of does. But you don't get any health, or it seems like any experience or anything from that. It seems like they stop for a second when you shoot somebody, but that's it. Most YouTubers, most content creators, and most copyright people would say that the game as a whole has the same level of fair use content argument against it as anything else, which is to say copyright holders have started to do this quite a lot, where they're saying, well, we own the 5-second jingle in your alright, so that started a fight. Like, they're trying to claim they own the 5 seconds of music in a 20-hour video game. Alright, I died. That I'm a little surprised by that. And even YouTube has gotten down to the point where they're saying, like, we're not going to let you claim the ad revenue of an entire, like, potentially 5-hour stream because 5 seconds of music was incidentally played.
Tried to invade me earlier. The hiss burrowing into everything in this place.
So I guess maybe
your enemy?
You should.
Enemy. That babble's contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
Yeah, and playing music doesn't seem like it stops the effects at all. I think Remedy is particularly bad about soundtrack casting. Putting in music just because they like music without it playing a significant role in the game. Things playing on the radio, not necessary. But I think that's also a fair art expectation too, or expression. Because if Remedy licenses the music, and I've been given this game in this instance by purchasing a video card, so I have rights to the thing. Now there is a way to crouch down, but I don't think it's told me how to do that, and melee is pretty useless right now. So am I supposed to just jump over? What am I doing wrong here? So we went through an hour of gameplay with like nothing happening, and now we're getting our butts handed to us. And I'm glad we went into the save spot, but
The hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier.
yeah.
The hiss.
Interesting.
Burrowing into everything in this place.
Looking at the map,
Is the
we
hiss
can.
your enemy?
We're like
All right.
halfway.
It's our enemy.
Halfway through the entire
That
first
babble's
floor.
contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
Like, this guy is. Like, where is he? So there's like a fire guy. Are we close to being done?
Must cleanse control points. An enemy. Corrupt. Spreading.
So here's Trench telling us to
The
cleanse.
control point. What does that mean? Help me fix it.
Again, our special magical friend is helping us return the building back to the way it was.
Holy shit! You did it! We did it!
Hello? Can you hear me?
Where are you?
Are you with us? With the Bureau?
Is
Are you
this
still sane?
where we're supposed to be talking to people?
can't tell you how happy I am to talk to somebody sane.
The feeling's mutual. Yeah, I'm Pope. Emily Pope. Dr. Darling's assistant.
My turn. Should I lie? Jesse Faden. I'm just visiting. I should have lied.
Oh, shit. You're the new director. Hold on. We're coming out.
Still seeing cutscene differences in the animation. Like there's
Director
definitely some live
Faden.
action
Call me Jesse.
live
Okay,
action
Jesse.
cutscenes, and then there's
I'm
some
Emily.
not as good as I'd like to
Somehow,
see
this hostile
3D
force,
modeling
this
animations.
Hiss?
That works. Somehow the hiss managed to infiltrate the building without any warning.
And just like that, my name for it is official. The hiss. Like the sound of poison gas leaking in.
We're in full lockdown. It seems to have spread everywhere and to everyone not protected by an HRA. And, extraordinarily, you. You are the director, and that makes you special by definition. Trench is no longer the director, obviously. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. This whole
What's an
situation is
HRA?
just a lot.
Trench is dead. Shot.
Ah,
I found his body. And the gun. Do I tell her it looked like a suicide?
the service weapon.
Also, and this can sound crazy, but he keeps appearing to me, saying things. It's hard to make out, but he told me to cleanse the control point, push the hiss out. The whole room shifted around.
You did that? And you entered the building when it was already in the lockdown before you became the new director? How?
I'm not ready to tell her about you yet. A janitor let me in.
I love it. This is fucking unbelievable. I can't
Wow.
even.
The facial
Look,
motions don't
Jesse,
really match
I have
this
a
voice
million
acting.
questions, and you probably have a million more.
Like, do you know my brother Dylan? Not yet.
But there's something I need to ask you to do first. If you can cleanse a control point, then you can maybe cure those infected or possessed by the hiss. Because if that's possible, our options are very different.
Emily Pope. I don't know her, but I like her already. She's the opposite of the faceless agency I've blamed for what happened to me for so long. But I
There's
can't trust her yet.
so much here
Or rather,
that
the
feels
duo
like
she's a part of.
this
Yes.
could have been a movie,
I can try.
a CGI movie versus a
I'm
video
speaking for
game.
you, of course. We can try it together.
Like, feels like there
Okay.
should be more
with me?
gameplay before we have.
We did it before. Push the hiss out.
So, alright, let's kind of quickly go in here and just collect items. And I'm just going to pick up these items and not read them. So, the question is, what are these devices, these HREs? And almost certainly, what would happen? Let's see. These points seem to just be lines in the center. Where here we go. So we're gonna try and push it out. So another cutscene.
It didn't work. The hiss has burrowed too deep. Ripping it out rips them apart.
So yeah, they're just telling you immediately in the game that
We need to make a
that
plan,
won't
Jesse.
work. And okay, fine, it won't work. Let's kind of quickly go over here. See. We've got some materials we're collecting. Is there anything here worth reading? I guess pause now if you want to read this about the service material, service weapon. Pause now if you want to read about that. Pause now if you want to read about that. Pause now if you want to read that. Pause now if you want to look at that picture. That's a clearly live action photo. Pause now if you want to read that. Pause now if you want to read that. Just a ton of stuff here. Yeah, pause now if you want to read that. Or that. Or that. Or that. And we'll go through several instances of this. And we already listened to the building shifts. So there's nothing to that part. And I guess the red light here indicates whether it's locked or unlocked. So, by the way, our gun is missing after that animation. It's weird, to say the least. Also, we can, I guess, change our outfit. I suspect I got, just because of this being a game that came with my new video card, I got a new outfit. Does she look any better in the tactical response outfit? Maybe a little bit, but not much. I mean, we'll try it, I suppose. And as far as fast travel goes, I imagine we'll have a few fast travel points we unlock as we get more into the game. But it certainly is taking its sweet time to get to that point. The thing with the ponytail now is she just looks more tactical and less professional for the person who's the director. My gun has been completely disarmed at this point. I can't. I'm a little bit afraid that we've actually glitched the game out. I feel like there should have been a visual movement that would happen where she would look kind of unprofessional to start with. Like the thing you could have her is she could be in a like t-shirt and jeans to start the game and look like a punk, and slowly over the course of the game she takes like the director's coat and she looks like more of a professional at that point, and throughout the entire story you see her become the actual director and turn into a very much paper pusher type character.
I can't cleanse them. I saw. It was worth a shot. Thank you, director. Jesse.
I'm gonna tell her why I'm here. I'll risk it.
Just have a whole
Listen.
conversation.
The Bureau was involved in an incident.
I really
in my
hate this
hometown, Ordinary,
internal dialogue
17
stuff.
years ago.
It's
The Bureau
unnecessary.
came in and covered the whole thing up. I've been looking for this place for a long time.
That's enough. Maybe that's too much already. I can't tell her about Dylan and the rest yet.
I've seen mentions of an Altered World event case dealing with Ordinary. You were at Ground Zero as a child? It was one of the big ones, and before my time. And very classified. I can try to dig out some old files for you. My boss, Casper Darling, would know, but he's missing. I think he knew this was coming, or suspected. He came up with the HRAs, the Hadron Resonance Amplifiers. I think they're what saved us. Or a few of us. And Director Trench would know.
Trench. The ghost, or whatever he is. He mentioned something called the hotline. Said I should find it.
It'll be interesting to see
It's
the
another
live
object of
action
power, like the gun,
cutscenes
an old Bakelite telephone,
with this new
a
skin.
direct line of communication between the director and the board. Maybe he can talk to you more clearly through that. I mean, Trench has years and years of experience. He might know how to destroy the hiss.
I was wondering
Where is the hotline?
if he
Kept in the
was
communications
perhaps
department
just
through the mailroom.
the director
It's part
for
of
a
his
week
sector,
or
we can
so.
access it even with the lockdown in place.
Because it
We'll
seems
get the
like
door open
directors
for you.
could come and go
Okay.
for as
That's my next stop.
little as the...
That's Tomasi's department.
old
He's
house
the
would
head
care.
of communications. I don't think he had an HRA. He kind of made a point about not wearing one earlier. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, almost
call me
certainly
the
the live
director.
action
That's not
videos
me.
will
I'm not a director
not
type.
look like the
Not a
new
leader.
skin.
Why am I here? I think you already know. Yes, I came for my brother, but there are other reasons too. I said I was looking for answers, but I might never understand them. I'm not looking for proof. This is already it. More than enough. No matter what they told me all those years, I know it's real now. I didn't imagine this. I want to be a part of this world. What scares me shitless is that I finally found it. Only to see the hiss destroy it all.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a feeling of every 40 minutes or so it starts a new episode. It is worth mentioning that Remedy is the developers of the Quantum Break game before this, and that was a game that very specifically tried to have a little bit of gameplay affect a
Look, I know this is all new to you, so
affect
don't hesitate
kind of
to
a
ask me anything you
TV
wanna know.
experience.
There are no stupid questions. The door to the comms department is just outside the boardroom back in the lobby. They should have gotten it open by now. Follow the signs to the mailroom. You can get to the hotline containment chamber through there. Good luck, Jesse. See you back here once you have the hotline.
So you're
Thanks,
just gonna
Emily.
pick up the hotline and carry it?
The hotline should be in the communications department.
So now we can ask some questions, I guess, if we want to.
Where did the hiss come from?
I'm not sure. You said the hiss was
The
here when
game.
you entered. Did you see anything like that outside before you came in?
No. No, just inside.
The source is internal then. See, the oldest house is a sprawling complex with openings to other places as well. I don't even know where to start looking. But in the context, it's good news. The lockdown holds. The hiss escaping the building would be the end. Pretty shitty world out there if you ask me, but I wouldn't want the hiss to destroy it.
With you on that, Emily.
So we could go through all of these. I guess we should.
You mentioned the oldest house. What is it?
This building, the Bureau headquarters, the oldest house, is a shifting place. You've seen it. It transcends its physical limits.
I've been to New York a few times. How didn't I notice this place?
It's an attribute of the building. This is a place of power. The oldest house doesn't like attention, so unless you're purposely trying to find it, you don't, which is perfect for us. The work we do here is essential, but unstable. The Bureau prefers not to be noticed. And we need strong walls to make sure nothing gets out.
So without you, I never would have found the front door. Okay.
So it is, I guess... No, it's not really running a line through things you've already talked about. You just have perhaps slightly brighter by a few shades for lines of dialogue you've already communicated versus lines of dialogue you haven't communicated.
This Trench guy. I keep hearing him in my head. Is he a ghost? Haunting me?
I doubt we're talking about a ghost in the traditional sense, but an echo maybe. See, if he was killed by the service weapon, your gun, maybe it's his final thoughts recorded by the bullet in his brain, like a deep space probe sending back data. But that's just a hypothesis on my part. I need the gun to research it. But you better hold on to that given the circumstances.
I think I will. Yeah.
So 2 more.
Can you tell me what
instead
an
of
object
actually
of
playing the
power
game.
is exactly? This is all, well, new to me.
Don't worry, I love going over the basics. So objects of power are mundane objects that house paranatural energies and have developed a link to the astral plane and can thus be controlled.
Her
which is what
lips
differentiates
are
them
not
from
moving
altered
anywhere
items, which are still
close
housings of paranatural
to
forces, but are more
what
volatile
she's saying.
and cannot be bound in the pure utilitarian sense. Got it?
Did she memorize this?
Got it. Thanks.
So is she... Are they perhaps speaking French? Is Remedy a French company? That might explain the brutalist architecture and the lack of lip sync, but I suspect it's just a lack of polish. I'm fairly certain Microsoft owns Remedy, but that doesn't mean that they're out of Redmond, Washington, where Microsoft is housed.
So HRA stop you from becoming
So I
his.
guess we should see
It
other
seems
people's
that way.
lips
I hadn't
movement.
even heard of an HRA until a few weeks ago when Dr. Darling started handing them out. Well, I began analyzing mine as soon as I got it. I mean, each one, it seems to emit a powerful short-range frequency.
Her
way
lips
beyond
are
anything
moving
I've
at
ever
the
seen.
same.
Doesn't the timing
same
seem
movement.
suspicious?
I thought that
But
too.
her facial
Dr. Darling
movements
usually likes to unveil his
don't
latest
feel like
breakthrough
they
in
would
big
make the same
presentations.
sounds that are
With
coming
these,
out.
He just passed them out. Yeah, his behavior makes me wonder what exactly he knew.
Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I'll have more questions soon.
Just let me know.
So yeah, that seems weird, to say the least. Again, our gun is not available to us. Apparently these are all the directors, and they've all been men up until this point, although there's an African American man, so that says something. And apparently they're planning on only having a few more directors, or having a few more directors very quickly. Or maybe these aren't directors and these are like members of the board, but not the multi-dimensional board, or maybe they are members of the multi-dimensional board. Do these clocks say the same time? Nope. They don't seem like they do. Well, maybe they do. 4:05, 4:05. It seems weirder that you'd have 3 clocks on the wall. Yeah. Again, a lot of cut and paste I'm seeing visually here with this brutalist architecture design. It feels like it's been made to be more of an excuse for a lack of level design than a actual reason to justify. We can see we're supposed to go that way, and I don't really have a desire to run around the entire game looking for collectible things. That's Executive Affairs and Director's Office, which is where we came from. We just came out of the boardroom, so this is the direction to go to. Cafeteria, Nostalgia Department, Communications Department, Dead Letters. And then magically our gun all of a
There
sudden...
it is again. Our welcome message.
So it just disappears when you walk through here, and it reappears when you walk through here. Almost as if you just feel safe. Alright, we apparently now have a weapon mod that we can equip, which will increase a semi-automatic fire that is deadly at short and long range. Exclusive to shifter. Well, what gun do we have? Apparently we can't use it, so we need something else. Do you have some personal mods? Let's see. Increase our health recovery and or 20% versus 24%. We're picking up these items and it's not really telling us anything. Pause now if you want to read that. And I guess there was one more thing over here. It still doesn't really feel like it's worth it to shoot all of those. We still don't have a security clearance even level 1, and yet we're the director, which shows that there will be some level of Metroidvania. Interesting, it broke the wall too, a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna run into some Metroidvania style gameplay. But I don't know how much of that we're really gonna run into. Is this in its totality something closer to a is this going to be something closer towards Metroid 1 in a 3D environment, looking a lot better than Metroid 1 arguably, with its ray tracing and such, or is this going to be something along the lines of what a modern Metroid Prime game should be, which would include a lot of interesting. The picture changes, but it's not straightened. Yeah, a lot of level design and puzzle design and platforming. That's kind of what we would be looking for. So are we supposed to just chase after the red, or are we supposed to who's shooting after me? I can definitely feel like I don't have enough bullets. And it seems highly believable that what we're going to run into is we'll eventually get into the points where we see a lot of these we'll see a lot of these firefights happen, in between which nothing else will happen. So I would suspect they front-loaded. Well, there is something different in this bathroom. Finally, I suspect they front-loaded a lot of story and cutscenes, and we're eventually going to stop running into that. Alright, does this gun mod now work? Thank goodness for that. And I guess we'll eventually need to upgrade deconstruct for 50. Let's go ahead and deconstruct that. And then unlock by upgrading. How does one upgrade things? Seems like you can't upgrade things yet. I have 2,552 upgrade materials. So am I supposed to go that direction? Or am I supposed to go somewhere else? Oh, it's hurting me.
It's overpowering here. You don't want me anywhere near it. With you on that.
Well, it would have been nice that if they had told me that before I lost all my health. Alright, so we can't go towards that, so we probably are supposed to come this way. Clearly the idea is to knock down people in the assumption that they will become problems later, but really only in a few scenarios is that actually true. This guy's slowly working his way towards me. They may not be able to even find me. Yeah, it feels like Remedy has a flair for trying to make cool cutscenes or environments, things that might look better in a animated like TV series, but would never actually become a TV series because it's too simplistic, or perhaps a comic book that I could certainly guess that might be a case too. Now, is this gonna hurt me if I'm in this red room? Yeah, I'm not really sold on actually being able to use this guy. Seems to be shielded. It's weird that the game has not really succeeded in telling me how to crouch down. Let's just take a moment. B, A, X, right bump, right trigger, left trigger. I don't think you ever get health out of these materials. Nor do I feel like you get health just breaking things in general. So you definitely feel like it was necessary for them to hand you health all the time, because what's back behind that gate? Because if they weren't handing you health all the time, every time an enemy died, you would have very little opportunities to pick it up. It's questionable what dead letters mean in this scenario. Like, I don't think every office needs a dead letter office. Only a post office would need that. Doesn't seem like there's anything else we need to do. One has to question whether this magical being that's with you is applying for a new job on the board, or whether he is actually taking over the Federal Bureau of Control. Like, either one could be the case.
Just look at it. 8 inches wide and capable of storing a whopping 80 kilobytes. Stolen by our friends at the CIA, the disk held the launch codes to Soviet nukes. This is not the disk, of course, but one exactly like it. A perfect fusion of concepts vibrating in the Cold War era collective unconscious. A receptacle. It is a receptacle for dangerous energies to hone in on, and they did. We don't have the details, but when things started flying around the disk, it was transferred to us. It's an object of power. OOP. Oops. Oh, and it can launch things telekinetically through the air. To date, we've launched maybe 3 dozen pencils. And once...
This isn't a live action video.
Even launched a cup.
I don't recall even the 8-inch floppy disks that most people would have had no experience only having 80 kilobytes of data storage. That seems low even for what it was.
Communications. We're on the right track.
So the gun is still out in this area. That area here is now somewhat cleaned up. Is there a side mission? Or are we just gonna run forward with the story? Like, I guess we're coming back to these areas later. The hiss is still around. One assumes we're not unconsciously working with the hiss. What was that just exploded? This game is getting... that was a grenade. Alright. It's getting a little too heavy in the fighting dimension because I think I've entered a room I'm not supposed to be in yet. Like, shielded enemies are not something I expected. So, what you have here is a potentially dangerous combination of a game that isn't, like, this room has changed. I am pretty sure it has. Because there was a way to get up and go where the hiss was, and now that, like, there should be a passageway down this way. Yeah, that's still the hiss. Alright. Yeah. So the game is in danger of becoming a generic first-person shooter game with a lot of cutscenes. Boy, is that dark on the recording. Like, yeah. And that doesn't feel very well balanced. So far it doesn't. It feels like it takes you out of the gameplay to show you a cutscene, and then it takes you out of the cutscene sections to show you gameplay. And almost certainly, if I go this direction, I will start some new fight, and then maybe we'll run into somebody, and then that would change the storyline a little bit. Health recovery element pickup at, is that 20%? I can barely read it. Is it 20, 26%, or 28%? I think it says 26%. Yeah, so I'll equip that. But I don't know how to upgrade anything. I don't think we've unlocked that. I don't think we've also unlocked the ability to crouch, which seems crazy. Here's another thing. Pause now if you want to read that. It seems like we're going to be collecting a lot of these bits of information that like shouldn't really be text. I don't play games wanting to read. I would read books if I wanted to read. I'm sorry, I think that's true for most video game players in general. So if they've written something here, why, in a lot of these cases, why not have the main voice actress read these lines of dialogue out loud, or play a voice recording that was from the person who dictated the text up. Yeah, that's something that I feel like BioShock in particular did really well. And since I know that we're going to mostly stick with the service revolver, you can kind of tell that at most there's going to be one other gun. Maybe you can only have a loadout with 2 weapons at a time. You know you're not going to have anywhere the 1-2 punches that you had in BioShock 1 or 2, or Infinite, where you're potentially releasing bees and then lightning somebody and doing a combination. It seems like the abilities so far have been pretty generic, and the guns are kind of generic. It's kind of inexcusable, frankly, when you think about it, because this game is brand new as of recording. It's 2019. We are in, this really is like the first release of the holiday season of 2019. So it's been probably over 5 years since BioShock 1 happened, maybe 7, maybe even we're approaching a 10-year anniversary of BioShock 1. So they didn't learn any lessons from that. Arguably, I think as we go forward, we'll see that Remedy maybe isn't learning the lessons that they need to learn as far as making a video game in general. It seems like what they want to do a lot of times is make something that is more of a TV series. But the thing about that is TV series get canceled really quickly. TV series are very simplified and dumbed down for the mass population, the mass audience. So you really couldn't make a game like Control into a TV series or a movie or anything like that. It would clearly be an example of a terrible video game to movie translation. And from what I've seen already, it just would not work. So they need to work within the medium that they're actually working with and give me a little bit more platforming, give me a little bit more puzzling, give me some more fights that aren't just immediately started and then having a group of people run towards me so I can shoot at them. I'd like to see some more strategy before I saw people with just more health, which is effectively what a shield is. And then the cutscenes are fine, but they needed to be spread out a lot more. And I think we're going to quickly find out that when we are in a position where we can see cutscenes, we're going to see 30 minutes to 40 minutes of cutscenes as some kind of falling action that does not well balance out with the rising action. Ideally, every 30 minutes, we'd go through about 30 minutes of gameplay, rising action to some kind of sub-boss and big fight, and then at the end of that, then we'd start to have some falling action for maybe 10 or 20 minutes of conversations. And even if they were just walk and talks where we were someone was following behind us and talking to us, it'd probably be better than the amount of energy that they spent to have us sit down in the boardroom in particular and animate a face-to-face conversation, because it seems like they spent way too much of their budget animating the conversations that aren't really the meat of this game. Unlike something like The Witcher 3, where The Witcher 3 had a ton of conversations and dialogue that were face-to-face conversations, but they had basically 5 tons worth of running around killing monsters on top of that. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.